Hello, this is Carol again from Carol Ann Creates. I'm just doing a short video here today to show you how I add extra colours mid-row into a mosaic overlay pattern. What I'm doing here at the moment, I'm doing a wall hanging, a Christmas wall hanging, and you can see where I've added extra colours in over here, and actually on the reindeer's nose there, and the berries here. So what I'm going to do now is add the candle, this yellow part onto the candle at the top here. I just wanted to explain first I'll show you in a minute how I do it, but I'm just wanting to explain why I do some things the way I do them. I like to, in here, this part of the pattern, I don't know if you can see, I'll just get it over here. On this part of the pattern, those dots mean single crochet to be made in the yellow colour. I'm actually going to do my first one, the stitch before, so that I don't get a little peeking through of the background colour. It's always, if you're adding another colour, it's always a good idea if there's a DC there before you change colour, to try and do the SC underneath that in the new colour. And I'll show you why. It's over here in my gingerbread house. Can you see here? I didn't do that SC in a different colour here, and you can see there's a peek through of the green there, because underneath here there's a green SC. Now what I should have done was if I made that a white SC. You see how they show through up here, but when I got further along at the top, I started to do those SCs underneath the DC here. I started to do them in white, and you can see how much better that looks compared to that peeking through of the green there. I don't know if you can see that very clearly, but if that doesn't bother you, it doesn't matter how you do it. But this is how I'm going to do my candle bit, just so you know why I'm starting my yellow stitch, the stitch before, because it's going to be covered by a DC, and all the way up here. That's going to be it's going to be covered here. So it's only on this, when you're doing working from right to left, it only happens on the right side because it's the way our stitches are slant. If you're working from left to right, it would happen on the left side. So if you're a left-handed person working, oops, you probably can't see what I'm pointing to here. It would happen on the left side. If you're a left-handed person, you would get those little peek through in here. So you could change your stitch to make it the stitch, you know, do this SC here in the yellow if you're working from left to right. But anyway, it's like I say, it's a choice. If you don't mind that little peek through of colour, then just work it as it shows in the pattern here. Anyway, so at the moment I'm on row, where is it? I'll just get it in the screen. I'm on row 30. So I'm on the first row here. I'm about to do the yellow. Ideally, if you have some SCs here, it's good to start your yellow to work over it a bit before you get to where it's needed. In this case, I don't have. I've only got that SC and this one, which will be yellow. I just find you can't working with the DCs there. Anyway, you can't hide the colour behind the DC as well as you can with an SC. Anyway, I'll just show you. I'm about to start now. I'm up to this bit here, and I'm about to do an SC here and start my new colour. So I'll just show you how I do it. I'm going to try and lock it in under that SC there. So this is an SC. My next stitch is an SC, and I just put the yellow over my hook and make sure I have enough here for weaving in, and then just work an SC there. And I've got a couple more DCs to do here, so the yellow just sits at the back there while I'm doing the DCs. So now, well, my first stitch is actually going to be, I'll just undo that. As I said before, I'm going to work my first stitch there underneath the DC in the yellow. So you change colour on the last pull through of the previous stitch so that the loop at the top is in the new colour. And then you carry your other colour across the back. So I'm going to do this, even though it's blue on the chart, I'm going to do that one in yellow. And then I've got 4 yellows. So I just do normal SC and make sure that your other yarn is being carried over at the back over the top there. Over the top of your hook. Now this is my last stitch, so I'm going to change back to, on the last pull through, change back to my background colour. And I've got another SC here, but I'm not carrying this yellow yarn across anymore. I'm just going to let it drop at the back because I'll need to use it on my next rows. So I'll just do an SC, and there's a couple of DCs. Sorry, this is dragging down a bit at the bottom here. I just want to explain what I'm going to do next. So on the next row, I mean, what you can do with the yellow now, because I'm not going to be cutting the yellow. It's going to be worked all the way up to the top. You can either just leave it there and then just pull it across for when you need it next time. But I find that on the next row, I'd like to get it locked in. I will pull it up and on the next row, I will work my SCs over it on the next row. And they're actually not going to be in yellow, they're just going to be in the other colour there. So I'll just, even though my chart doesn't show that, the only SCs that actually required to be in yellow are the ones with the black dots there, and that one up there. The other ones are just in the row colour, which is the background colour. Oh no, on that row it's not. It's going to be my B colour. So I'll just get to that, and then I'll show you how I do that part. Well, I'm at the section now where I'm on the next row, which is actually going to be worked in the pink yarn here, because that row is worked in the row colour. It's only the yellow dots there, the black dots, where the yellow is required to be worked as an SC. So I'm going to work the row colour here, but I'm going to need the yellow on this row, so I'm going to pull my yarn up and work over it now on this row. And I'm just about to do, where am I? I'm just about to do this SC here. So I'm going to bring it up now and work over it. So I'll just do an, so here's the yellow at the back. You can see that, the yellow at the back. I'm just going to bring it up and work over it. But now I have just to make sure that it's not too loose, not too tight. So it's best if you can just pull it up and then just get it to the, you know, roughly sort of so it's loose enough but not too loose. And my next stitch, here, and so I'm just going to be working, the next stitch is a DC, and so now I'm working SCs over this yellow yarn here. And try and get that last one in. It's always makes it look a bit neater on the back. And then the next one's a DC. There's a couple more. I'll just do a couple of SCs and then I'll show you a bit more of what I'm talking about. So I've worked over it here at the back, and so now I've got this yellow yarn here is ready now for when I do the next row there for that SC there. I'll show you a little further what I did further down. I haven't got a stitch marker, so I'm just going to use just a paper clip for the moment, just so this doesn't come undone. So further down here on the back, this is how I've worked it like that here on this section here, and you can see that on the back you do get this little bit of the red was carried up there. You can see that, you can get that little bit of red. I didn't do it terribly well down the bottom here, and it looks a bit messy, but this is a wall hanging, so you know, hey, it doesn't matter if it's messy on the back. But if you're doing a blanket, you want it to look a bit neater. So the method I'm using now, that's kind of how the back will look. But I'll work most of this and I'll show it to you, you know, when it's done. So now I'll just work, and I'll come back to the next row of yellow and I'll show you what happens there. Okay, I'm onto row 32, the next one here. So I'm just about to start the yellow yarn in this little area here. So I've got to do one last DC, and on the last pull through, bring the yellow yarn up, which is right there. Bring the yellow yarn up and pull it through. And I'm going to work over on the next stitch, I'm going, as I've got two SCs there. I'm just going to work over the yellow yarn over the background yarn. For those two, and then there's four. What am I doing? Four DCs where I'm not going to work over the background yarn. I'll just pick it up later, and then I'll work over it on the next row underneath here. It's a bit warm here where I live. It's going to be in the 30 degrees today, and it's making my hands a bit sweaty. So the yarn's not slipping through as easily as it should do. So there's the four. And one SC. So I'll grab that background yarn again here and work over it. So now I'm going to actually be changing to the background yarn instead of working over it. I'm actually going to be changing again on the last pull through. And I'll just drop my yellow yarn, just drop it down so I'm not going to work over it. And it's 1 SC. So I've done the 4 DCs. Yeah, the 4 DCs and the 1 SC, and now I'm working in the background colour there. And you can see at the back that that's the yellow that's already been worked over before, and I'll work over this background yarn on the next row. So I'll come back to you and show you that. Well, we're up to the next row here. Sorry about my analog method here of keeping my track of my rows, but whatever works for you, and this works for me. So I've just done, where are we? It's not working so good at the moment. I've just done that DC there on row 33. So I'm just going to keep using the same yarn across here because it's only the ones with the black dots that need to be in yellow. And but I'm going to work over, bring the yellow up and work over so it's ready for the next row up here. So I've just done my DC, and the yellow is here. I'm just going to bring it up and work all these SCs. So you just bring it up and put it over your hook, then work an SC, and then just check to make sure that it's not too tight or too loose. It has to be able to, you don't want it to be pulling, but it has to be able to come up at the end here and then be worked over. So I'll just work over these few stitches here. And try and make sure you work over it in that last stitch because it makes it a bit neater on the back. And DC here. I'll just show you what that looks like on the back. So that's reasonably neat. I think I forgot to work over this. That was on the previous row. Never mind. I should have worked over that on the previous. So easy to forget to work over these, but anyway, it is a wall hanging, so it's not such an issue. But it's always good to try and remind yourself, you know, to work over those threads at the back there, those loose threads. And remember, before I told you about those stitches that are peeking through at the side here. So this row is 4 SC, there's 4. And if I didn't do that one underneath here in yellow, that would be peeking through green there. So you can see that it is helpful to do it, do that stitch that's underneath there in the colour that you're just changing to. Okay, so I'll just do the next row, and I think you've probably got it by now. But I'll do the next row to show you how that goes. Okay, so I'm now up to row 34 into the spot where I've just got one last DC here, and I'm going to be pulling through the yellow yarn on the last pull through. And I'm going to do my first SC here, which I will go over the background yarn in that SC, but it'll just hang again and until I get across to the other side here, and hopefully I won't forget to go over it on the next row. So now I've got 5 DCs. Bit of yarn tangle going on here. Is that right? It's not 5, it's 6. 6 DCs. And I'll change over here now to my background colour. Whenever you're doing a, carriage yarn or something, it always gets tangled. I've never worked out how to not have it tangled. So I'll pull this through on the last pull through. Again, I'll try not to make it too tight. And I'll just leave my yellow yarn hanging there. And okay, so oops, my yellow yarn. Well, my yellow yarn is hanging there, and I'll be pulling it up on the next row to work over. And hopefully I'll remember to work over both of them, this one and this one on the next row, because I forgot to do it down here. And I think you should have the hang of it by now, so I'm hoping that that's been helpful to people. And of course, if you were doing the same pattern all the way along, it's just easier to carry your yarn all the way along from the start. But because there's this little patches or little highlights of colour, it's easier to do it this way. I think it's nicer to do it this way, and saves a lot of yarn as well. So anyway, I hope this video's been helpful, and this is my Merry Mosaic blanket, which the pattern will be coming out probably not until next year now. So and there's 12 patterns altogether in this design. So thanks for watching, and I hope it's been helpful.